enforcement for the city of Cape Canaveral. Today's date is May 27, 2025. My name is Rick Geller. I am special magistrate appointed by the City Council to hear code enforcement cases pursuant to Article 6 of the City Code, Florida Statutes, Chapter 162. We are going to be holding this evening a quasi-judicial evidentiary proceeding known as a Massey hearing. The burden of the proof is on the city to demonstrate by a preponderance of the evidence that a code violation continues to exist past the date established for compliance by a previous order that I have entered. In other words, I will determine based on the evidence presented to me this evening whether it is more likely than not that a violation continues to occur. The alleged violator will have an opportunity to submit any rebuttal or exculpatory evidence, including testimony. At my discretion, I may allow a member of the public with relevant personal knowledge to testify, even if not called by either the city or the responding party. And anyone who would like to testify should sign the sign-in sheet at the front of the hearing room. Upon request, an alleged violator may ask relevant and material questions of any city witness, and vice versa. The city may ask relevant and material questions of any witnesses for the responding party. I may deem certain evidence to be irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious and exclude it. In determining the amount of any fine, I will consider the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, as well as any previous violations that may have been committed by the violator. Under the city code and the Florida statutes, I may assess and order the payment of a fine of up to $250 per day per violation for a first violation, and up to $500 per day for a repeat violation. I may also order a fine of up to $5,000 for a violation that I deem to be irreparable or irreversible, as well as the cost of any repairs made by the city. At the conclusion of the hearing, I will issue findings of fact, conclusions of law, based upon the record before me, and in order, both here on the bench and in writing. I always endeavor to prepare and provide to our recording secretary, Ms. Roth, the order by the end of the week. The city will record a certified copy of any order imposing a fine, which will become a lien against the land where the violation occurs, as well as any other real or personal property owned by the violator. Any order I issue may be appealed by any party to the Circuit Court for Brevard County, Florida, within 30 days. It is the responsibility of the appealing party to obtain a record of these proceedings. An appeal is limited to the record that is presented before me. And I will administratively accept the city's agenda packet as City's Exhibit 1 and its PowerPoint slides as Exhibit 2. I have signed and approved of the minutes from March 25th, 2025, and I've given them to Ms. Roth. Our next meeting is June 24th, 2025, and at this point, Officer Coase, if you and anyone else who intends to testify would ask you to be sworn in. You swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. So the first case is a Massey hearing, case number 2022-093, regarding, I have here, here we go, 618 Madison Avenue, Cape Canaveral. Looks like the respondents have a different mailing address. So with that, I'll let you proceed.
Okay, case number 22-093, Antonio Romano and Lydia Romano. As you had stated, Mr. Geller, the address 618 Madison Avenue, Cape Canaveral, Florida, 32920. Legal is as written. Parcel as written. Violation is for property maintenance. Sections 302, exterior property areas, 304, accessory structures, 306, component serviceability of the International Property Maintenance Code.
Okay.
Magistrate orders 131-3023. Return to sender on 306-2023. Romano, Antonio, and Romano, Lydia. 3/8 of 2023, posted property in accordance with Florida Statute 162.12, notices along with required posting at City Hall.
Okay.
Notice of hearing, notice of Massey hearing, 5/7/2025, sent certified mail via USPS to Antonio Romano and Lydia Romano, returned to sender on 5/24/2025. On 5/12/25, posted property in accordance with Florida Statute 162.12, notices along with required posting at City Hall.
Got it.
There's a picture of the property as it is right now.
Let me ask you this. I do remember this property being a real mess, and this goes back a couple years.
It does.
And they were supposed to demo part of the property. They were supposed to get building permits, construction permits done, and do some considerable renovating. Did that happen?
Yes and no.
Okay, I'll let you proceed then.
Okay. Case number 22-093. On January 24th, 2023, I presented this case to you and you determined that the property was in violation of the notice of violation. Consequently,
Or in violation of the code sections that were cited in the notice of violation. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Consequently, the respondent was granted until February 27th, 2023 to submit applications for and obtain both demolition and construction permits, inclusive of all requisite architectural and engineering plans in accordance with the Florida Building Code. The respondent was further directed to bring the property into full compliance with the city code, including all applicable provisions of the International Property Maintenance Code prior to the expiration of all associated construction and demolition permits. And February 14th, 2023, a demolition permit was applied for and subsequently issued on February 23rd, 2023, with an expiration date of August 19th, 2025. Although the permit remains active until its designated expiration date, no additional demolition activity is expected. On 5/15/2023, a construction permit was applied for and was thereafter issued on February 2nd, 2024, with an expired date of May 7th, 2025. The Marbeck Construction Company served as the applicant for both the demolition and construction permits.
Can you go back that one slide? So the expiration of the construction permit was May 7,
Yes, sir.
2025. So earlier this month, they had to get it done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the demo permit, that has not yet expired. That's until,
The demo permit has not yet expired.
Okay.
However, the demolition they applied for was done. And that consisted of just tearing off rear decks on 2 of the buildings.
and so the rear deck demolition did occur.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the demolition's not an issue this evening?
That was actually just a partial demolition.
Okay.
On February 25, 25, staff received an email from the architect associated with this property regarding the process by which the contractor, Marbeck, could formally withdraw from the permit due to ongoing disagreements with the property owner. The permit technician, Anna Young, advised that they will need a request in writing requesting to cancel the permit. On April 17th, 2025, no letter or email has been received requesting cancellation of the permit. The permit remains active and is set to expire on May 7th of 2025. May 7th, 2025, permit number P23-0729 has expired.
Let me get that permit number before you change the
Yes, sir.
slide. So it's P23-0729. So basically, we got this email saying, what's the process to withdraw it? Nothing further, and then it expires.
It expired.
Okay.
All construction activities ceased on November 7th, 2024, and the site has since remained incomplete and in a visible state of disrepair. The property continues to exhibit conditions that negatively impact the surrounding community. I'd like to show you some pictures here.
Yeah.
This is how the property looks right now. Overall view of both the properties. Both the structures on the property.
So there's a single address for this property, but there are two units on sharing the same, okay. And is this supposed to be like what kind of structure is this supposed to be, a condo or single-family homes, or what is it?
I have no idea what he was gonna do with this.
Okay,
This permit thing and the construction issue has been ongoing for a few years now.
okay. So what we have here is,
It's still very dilapidated all over.
well, it's just incomplete construction. And we have exposed bricks without stucco.
They pretty much applied for and obtained the building construction permit and started work, and then due to disputes, left, but they never said in writing that they wanted to withdraw from the permit, so it
Yeah.
remained open and
Okay.
in setting in disrepair. This section right here is on the, this building to the, close to the coastal area.
Yeah.
That right there was added onto the structure. That,
Was that fence part of one of the original things that had to get fixed
Yes,
back
sir.
in January 20, whatever year that was, 2023?
2023, yes, sir, it was.
Okay. So
This is the
still,
overall side of the property. This
you're just up here, back up. I just missed that
Yes,
one.
sir.
Okay. Is this the same fence, or is that a different part of the
It's the
fence?
same, it's the same wooden fence connected to this concrete
Okay.
structure they had.
All right.
That's original, both of them are original. Another view. That's the original property. This portion right here in the rear is what was demoed,
Yeah.
and that right there was put in its place.
Okay.
Another view of the dilapidated fence. Just in disrepair. It's just sit for a couple of years, just like this.
So the last construction was November of 2024?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's when.
So we're about half a year, a little more than it, maybe 8 months
No
at
work
this
has been
point.
done since.
Okay.
Proper representative, I don't think he's here. Staff recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence submitted at this hearing. Staff respectfully request the magistrate find the respondents in violation of the notice of violation as set forth in the January 27th, 2023 magistrate order, and a fine be imposed in the amount of $100 for the first day and $50 every day thereafter until compliance is confirmed by the code enforcement officer and all cost associated with the enforcement of the violation be imposed.
All right. Are there any cost that you can present to me this evening that I can?
Not.
Okay, then I won't be able to add that to my order. But I guess one question I have is there were actually some different deadlines that I'd written down here when I looked at the order earlier today. That and I think we're in agreement on this, that February 27, 2023, that's when they had to submit an application for a demo permit. They'd have all tenants vacate. They had until April 30th, 2023, in which to apply for the construction permit. It appears that they met those deadlines by submitting the applications. As far as we know, there are no tenants there today.
That is one thing they did do.
Yeah.
But as far as fixing this property up, it's still in disrepair.
It's still, yeah, it is. So I guess the question is, from what date do I start running the fines? Because I'm inclined to impose fines here. The violations are obvious.
Mr. Geller, I would say from that last day, I would say from November 2nd of 2024.
Okay. From when they stop
Yes, sir.
performing. Okay.
When they stopped, because they were carrying on like they were going to do something. It was
Right.
maybe, give them a chance to improve this property.
Yeah. All right. think anything further, I think I'm prepared to rule.
No, sir.
All right, I find that all of the notices were in compliance with the city code and with Florida statutes, including the hearing for the Massey hearing this evening. The property owners, the respondents, had a full and fair opportunity to appear here this evening. They elected not to. And the fence remains in violation. The fence and my prior order was to bring the subject property into full compliance with the city code, including the sections of the International Property Maintenance Code that were cited at the beginning of this hearing by Officer Coates. And I stated that if the respondents fail to comply within the time period set forth in the order, that this hearing would be scheduled, that the respondents would be duly notified, and we would proceed. There remain serious violations of the International Property Maintenance Code. I'll abbreviate that by calling it the IPMC. I mentioned the rotten fence. That's in violation of Section 302.7 regarding accessory structures. They remain in violation of 304.1. The exterior of the structure shall be maintained in good repair, structurally sound, sanitary, shall not pose a threat to public health, safety, or welfare. They're in violation they appear to have remedied the violations pertaining to that deck that was enrolling since it was demolished. So I'm going to not include the deck. It's in violation of Section 304.2 of the IPMC, which pertains to protective treatments. We have the Tyvek just falling off this thing. There's no stucco on the exposed bricks. The exterior surfaces are not being maintained in a good condition. Exterior wood surfaces shall be protected from the elements and decay by painting or other protective covering or treatment, and certainly that's not happening here. That's 304.2. We're in violation of 304.5, that foundational walls shall be plumb and free from cracks. Breaks shall be kept in such condition as to prevent entry of rodents or other pests. Pests. These walls are not, they're not weatherproofed. A violation of 304.6 about exterior walls must be maintained weatherproof. Previously found a violation of 304.10 that pertains to stairways, decks, porches, balconies, but again, they remedy that but with the demolition, so I won't include that. We saw on the balcony, they have some temporary construction handrails, but the structure on the right has none, so they're in violation of Section 304.12 that handrails shall be firmly fastened and support the normally imposed loads. There are no handrails on the structure on the right whatsoever on that balcony.
No, sir, not.
When you visited the property, I mean, on the left, it looks like there are remnants of stucco on there. Is that, or was that something that was applied during the construction? Do you know?
That's remnants of the stucco from the original.
Okay, and it looks like it's in bad shape.
It's very bad shape. And,
Some of the-
they've increased the sizes of these windows, as you can see, and they're not protected. They're all open to the elements.
Yes. I'm finding a violation of 301.1.1 due to deterioration of that stucco on that first building. I'm going to impose a fine of $100 for the first day, $50 for each day thereafter as recommended by the city. It will commence as of, lost the date there, November, do you remember it?
November 7th, 2024.
That was the last day of their construction. I want to make sure I get that right. The last day that they did construction. November 7th, you're right, November 7, 2024. We'll start, the fines will accrue as of that date. And these fines will continue to accrue until they bring this property into full compliance with the code. In full compliance with my January 27, 2023 order. The fines will run in favor of the city of Cape Canaveral. The city has the authority to collect the accrued fines after 3 months is run. And to record my order imposing these fines in the public records. And just make sure that when it's recorded that it's a certified copy. In setting the amount of the fines, I consider the gravity of the violation, the eyesore that this property is to the neighborhood, to the community, to the larger city. As far as actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, there have been no actions whatsoever since November 7, 2024. We have no indication of that whatsoever, and we've had 8 months at this point.
At least.
Yeah, to get a new contractor or a new architect, whatever they needed to do, and they've not done it. I have no evidence of previous violations by this particular respondent, but again, the gravity of the violation is such that it more than easily justifies the fines. Is your recommendation the $100 and $50? Is that going to be per violation, or is that just all included? Because if it's per violation, I rattled off probably a half dozen.
Let's leave it like it is.
Okay, so it'll be all inclusive.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think the city is very generous in making that recommendation.
I agree.
Yeah, I could easily have gone up to my $250 maximum there.
They thought it crossed my mind, but I'm going to.
Okay, I mean, we're just trying to get compliance here and make,
Exactly.
all right. So the accruing fines upon the recording in the official records of Brevard County shall become a lien in favor of the city on the subject property and upon any other real or personal property of the respondent pursuant to Section 2-252E of the City Code and Florida Statute Section 162.093. This is obviously not homestead property. In fact, I find this is not homestead property because obviously no one can be living there. It is subject to foreclosure pursuant to Florida Statutes 162.093, and the city may elect to pursue that remedy if they do not get cooperation. And in a foreclosure action, the city would be able to pursue a recovery of its attorney's fees for that action. So that's all I have on this one. I'll get this all in an order form by the end of the week. Is there any further business this evening?
No, sir, I think that's all.
All right. Appreciate everyone being here and appreciate the presentation.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Then I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.